Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt. Welcome to New Brit Workshop. I'm unable to do any more work on these cabinets at the moment, but I wanted to share something with you. I've come up with this idea. And the idea is I'm going to create some short videos which are as short as possible, covering one tiny subject. And I'm going to call this series Nifty Neatos. And hopefully over the time there'll be lots of them. And the one that I'm going to start with is here at the Capex. Now, have you ever found yourself in the situation where you want to make a whole bunch of very small items? And I want to make some 32mm long pieces from this piece of planed up oak. Now, it's easy enough. I've got a stop in place here, and I can just use the Capex in the normal way. Now, most of the time, the piece of wood behaves itself and stays in place, so you end up with an absolutely perfect cut. Now, on some radial arm saws and perhaps on some compound mitre saws, when you do the cut, something like that happens. And I don't know if you noticed, I actually did that deliberately. I raised the saw before the cut was finished, and you probably heard the click. And sure enough, there's a very small bit of damage to one face here. I can feel it. I don't know if it's possible for you to see it. A bit of damage is just there. So what I need to be able to do is to hold this piece in place. And because I've got a lot of these to cut, this could be quite a tedious process. So I've made up this Nifty Neato gadget, and basically it consists of 3 pieces of wood. There's a block here, which is for the clamping of the whole arrangement. There's a thin piece which I've glued onto the block here, and it's made of, in this case, oak, and there's a little piece stuck on the end of the oak there. And I think you can probably see already the idea of this is that it would be positioned in such a way that it can be used to hold something in place. So there it is. It's all set up. And you can see now that when I put my piece of wood in here, it's going to hold this piece in place. Let's give it a go. And I hope you can see that each time I'm getting pretty much a perfect cut on these little blocks. And it's pretty easy to slip this in here. Your fingers are then nowhere near the cutting action, and you're just holding on to your main piece of wood. And one of the reasons I've done this is because a friend of mine recently has injured himself, not on a Capex saw, but it just made me think about shop safety in general. And I made this a month or so ago to help me, and I thought, well, maybe now is the time to share it. So there we go. There is this very cheap and cheerful but nifty neato gadget. It consists of a block there, a long thin strip here, and another small block. And they're glued together, and that's all it is. And if you've got your setup for, in my case, my Capex, you've got to make sure the block goes into an area where you've got a clamp. And that's all it is. And you might want to make this slightly smaller, this end here. Mine is fine. If I need to make it smaller, I'll just saw it off. And so there it is. Nifty Neato gadget number 1. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.